one of the things you brought up yesterday during our exchange with Dr. Murphy was the issue of poverty. And I was interested to hear more about your working with the Housing Authority. You're talking about dispersing it, trying to mix. Could you expound a little bit about what you're talking about there in terms of what you're looking to do?
Well, what we're interested in doing is, I think policies of the past where I'll use the word congregate poor people in the areas is a failed policy. I don't think it's good for the people that live in those circumstances, and one of the few places in Nashua where really calls our attention to that is Bronstein Apartments. So you look at Bronstein, and people from age 8 to age 80 have different names for what they call that. But one of the common themes is the projects. That's where the projects are in Nashua. Nobody wants to feel like they live in something called the projects. And so we ought to be looking at changing the quality of life for the residents that live there. And I'm a proponent, as you know, long before I was mayor, I was very involved with housing and workforce housing and the things that we can do. And I'm a real proponent of mixed income housing and how you do that and how you mix it up. As I said yesterday, I grew up in an apartment on Orange Street, 3 houses down, just like today. Beautiful, beautiful Victorian homes. Worth 3 times the house that I grew up in, within a stone's throw. That's a way to give people opportunity. See, I don't think poverty should be what we measure people's success by. It's the exposure to opportunity that people have. And so when I worked for the agency, the Community Action Agency that I worked for before I became mayor, that was the same agency that actually opened the first Head Start that I graduated from. And what I liked about working for that agency was, its fundamental principle was, if you're exposed to an opportunity, regardless of your income, you can succeed. And I said yesterday, there's nothing that's going to make a kid do better than another kid that challenges him. You're going to run faster than that kid, you're going to do better on that math test, you're going to get the ribbon in class, you're going to win the spelling bee. Because that competition brings out something in you that doesn't talk about poverty or other things. It talks about you can be what you want to be.
So what would you like to see done with the Bronstein Apartments? I guess what would you envision?
I envision them being gone.
Okay.
And I envision relocating the residents that live in those units into our community where we have other housing opportunities available. I envision working with the Housing Authority to have them be in a position where they're doing more home ownership, where they're doing more sites that they own, that we do this as a community, that we're supported by HUD, but not necessarily doing only HUD-type housing. I would love to change that neighborhood. So the Parkway is going to come through there, and you've seen some of the jury design work for there. This could be an amazing opportunity to open up the backside of downtown. Right, you have this kind of new gateway coming in from a different place into our downtown. And so I would like to see, we've got the district court now that's empty. We've got West Pearl Street there. And my perfect world, and I do recognize when I talk about my perfect world that there are challenges, which is why I talk about it as a perfect world. We would take that courthouse down. We would open up West Pearl Street and East Pearl Street to two-way traffic. We would have the Parkway come in. It would see the new park that's going to be there that's almost done. And we would put a public health building there. We would put our PAL there. We would do a community center. We'd take the parking in front of the Plus Company building and we'd move it to the back. And we'd put green space in front of that building. And we'd stop having this traffic circle kind of nightmare around the building. And we would change how that whole frontage looks. And I think that it could bring an awful lot of opportunity into the downtown. It would breathe a little new life into West Pearl Street. I think those are the places that we should be going. Now, it doesn't mean go to Bronstein and say, hey, all you poor people, you're evicted. It's about going to Bronstein and talking to those residents. What would you like? There are some residents, over the years when they've talked to them, that are interested in going home. And that might be someplace that's not Nashua. And there are some residents that are interested in living in French Hill. And there are some that are interested in owning their own home. We need to look at them as individuals, and we need to take in the circumstances of their lives, and we need to help them have a different quality of life. And I think we need to do more of that throughout the city.
Given With all that, you heard Dr. McCarthy bring up the numbers yesterday. The poverty in the schools, at least, are skyrocketing. So I guess